the semifinals again. Woohoo! Let's go. That's right. And you know I did that night. I could have done it after that key four, but I knew the game wasn't going to be over yet, man. It wasn't going to be over. But had I missed that four, boy, would I be in a much closer situation to where I'd be a whole lot more nervous. All right? But boy, oh boy, man. I started to feel at ease, man, after making that four. Woo. Just remember, I was up 38-35, and I had a consecutive three-point attempt that I wanted to make, which I did, right? And then, as you know, I missed a three. That tied it at, that tied it at 38, and it was nervous time because I had no choice but to attempt a four. And it was right there. I think it was like under a minute left, right? It was like around a minute. It was that time. It was getting close. I don't know how to position, but I feel like I had a good look. So when I released it, yes, son. Boom! Nailed it! Straight up! On the net! Not even a bank! That was a straight up on the net! A 42-38! And then I had to attempt the three, and I grabbed the offensive rebound, baby! Key! The offensive rebound. I needed to just take one last shot, and which was a three. Whether I make or miss, I was still gonna win anyway. But I decided to call timeout just so I can showboat. I mean, show off, right? So I decided to attempt more threes. I made one. So that puts me up 45-38 to make sure I had secured the lead. In case if I had any miscountings, I want to make sure the lead was even more marginable. And then I missed another three. But after that, continued, missed a three. That cuts it to 45-41, and I won! Let's go! Buzzer sounds. Moving on to the semi-finals. I'm going to explain that more in detail in another video, what the next series will be. Boy, this one was tough, man. Let's just be honest here. I'm glad that, I'm glad that I didn't even pick Zimmerman Park. That Zimmerman Park series would have been so much harder. Believe it or not, that would have been so much harder. Trust me, it's I might not even have that many consecutive same shots. It just depends how the series will turn out. But that would have been so much harder. Trust me, I might not even been able to make this. To win that series. That would have been, the sheer embarrassment considering what my regular season record was. But getting back to this game, man, boy, this series overall, yes, they had a lot of three-point attempts, and I know I've been doing so well from three-point land, at the start of September, aside from the IU birthday game and Erich's birthday. But for the most part, I think I just averaged a whole bunch. There's been many games where I made well more than 5. There's been a few games where I made 10, even 9 or 10, bro. And that continued on into the start of this first round. Yeah, I made 9 threes in game 1 here, and unfortunately I lost despite the overtime. And going into game 2, that was even worse. And I only made like 3 threes, I think, out of freaking 20 something. But bro, what was I gonna say? Yeah, and then games 3 and 4, I finally had won. the first couple of games to finally tie the series at 2-2, both games at Eastgate Park. And then game 5, I won in Heritage Park. That was a fairly good one too. I mean, even though I was down double digits, it took a bunch of floaters, and I think I made a good amount of threes as well. So I did well in that one. That one put me up 3-2, and then I lost game 6 horribly. And then game 7 and 8, although those were really, really close games, I feel like the rim over there in Evergreen Park just did not treat me friendly. So I was, there were close games, but I just lost them both. I had the better chance in game 7, even though I was down by 21. But I started to get my touch on those turnaround jumpers finally, after struggling to just, I don't know. I just missed all of them in the first 4 games, I think. And then it took game 5, or excuse me, I think it was game 5 or 6, where I finally got a couple. And then, I still lost in game 6. That was a horrible game. But game 7 and 8, game 7, I found my touch even more. And yes, I had, so the house right here that had that big old skeleton is gone now. I guess they're moving on straight to Christmas, I would assume. Well, as far as this series is concerned, yeah, game 7 and 8, I lost both of them, and I was already in elimination mode. So I had to go to game 9, knowing what's at stake. Yeah, I was horrible in the first half. I mean, like, for the majority of that first half, dude, I was down by 30, 4-34, man, missing nearly every shot. I thought it was about to be that way here. But no, it wasn't nearly as bad. Although, to miss this many shots to start game 11, I was down 0-18 before I made 3 consecutive floaters to cut it to 6-18. Okay, and then I missed the floater again, right? So yeah, it was and then it was down 6-20. Then I made a 3, 9-20. And then I made 2 straight threes, because I was missing every single 3 before that. So, made a couple threes. I think I called a timeout, right? Yeah. And I proceeded to attempt to miss both 3-point attempts. But then I got to the 4-point part, which was, I certainly made that one. That was one of the key 4-pointers, one of the only 2, and that cut it to 16. And then I hit another 3. I was starting to get in touch again with the 3, with the 3. And so I made another 3, cuts it to 19-20. And then yeah, dude, I was and then I started to, I started to make the jumpers, right? I mean, let me review this thoroughly before I even get right back, because I'm gonna review this one pretty good. So I got enough time to do so as I'm hitting the coffee bean right now. But I want to make sure that I'm getting my calculations right. So for the most part, I don't want to mess up. So yeah, but for the most part, I think I won. I still think I won. So yeah, let me just review it. I don't have my papers with me. I don't have my notebook. I don't have my score chart. But I'm gonna get back to this once I review the whole thing. Peace.